What's going on YouTube? That was just a quick little look at the subject of my video today. What's up, Prepper Bob? I've made a VR to you in, man, a really long time. And shame on me, I have not been watching a lot of my subscribers' videos recently. Just part of it has been that I've been a little bit busy, and part of it is that I was just being selfish, I guess. I don't know. I don't know why I don't know why, but that's not important. Water under the bridge. So I watched a few of your recent videos, Prepper Bob, and you're always so honest in your videos. I really, man, this iced coffee is amazing. Oh, this mocha coffee. So I really appreciate, Prepper Bob, how honest and direct you are and very straightforward. I never feel like I have to read into what you're saying or talking about. I never feel like you're trying to hide the truth or beat around the bush or anything like that. You're speaking from the heart, in other words, which I think is, I value it personally. I don't know if I can say that I think everyone else should act like that. Who am I? Who am I to tell other people how to live their lives? But I personally appreciate when people are honest and direct and straightforward and speak from the heart, because it's easier to work with them. It's easier to help them. It's easier to understand what's going on. So thank you for that. And if any of my subs watching this or any people watching this who aren't subscribed haven't checked out Prepper Bob, go sub his channel. He has been prepping a really long time. He knows a lot of stuff and he shares a lot of stuff. A lot about prepping, a lot about himself, a lot about life. He likes to share and make videos. And I'm gonna let you in on a secret, Prepper Bob. You know that green screen? Remember that one that was like the angriest VR anyone's ever made to me. Like, I don't want to use the damn green screen. I'm not messing with the green screen. And then within the next week, I think you messed around with the green screen, which was cracking me up. But I tried to mess around with some video and that green screen, but my computer it's so old. I haven't given up yet though. So Prepper Bob, if I have your permission to upload a video of me messing around with your green screen, let me know, because I think there's potential there. I think there's potential. But enough about the green screen. I know that's a sore topic. I'm going to talk today about a video that you just made. The title of the video is Source of Embarrassment, and it's about your workshop and how there's some stuff in your workshop right now. And let me just say that I appreciate you sharing that video with us, Prepper Bob. I know that when we grow up and we see adults and we see figures and media and stories, everything is golden, right? Everything is beautiful and perfect and pristine, and no one ever has problems with anything, right? Or challenges or things that they spend time on that give them grief. So I think that it shows an enormous level of self-actualization to be perhaps not comfortable with like what's going on in the workshop, but at least comfortable enough with it that you're willing to share it, like your other video, asking for help when needed. And if I would physically help you. I mean, I can't look, I'd be lying if I said I can't jump on a plane. I could jump on a plane, Prepper Bob, come sleep over your house, and we could work on your workshop. I'm not going to say I can't do that. That would be a lie. I'm not going to lie. I could. School's starting though, so it'd have to be like over a weekend or something. Man, I'm telling you, PB, how cool would that be? Get a bunch of subs to just fly in and help you with your workshop, dude. In a weekend, PB? the amount of stuff like a dozen of us could do in a weekend. But I'm getting a little off topic. So, had just a couple questions about the workshop. You're talking about the trash and how. So you said you do have a monthly trash service. I guess my question is, do they not want to do a bulk pickup, or do they charge like a crazy amount for the bulk pickup? Because I know locally, even though I'm in an apartment, if we have like a lot of stuff, you can kind of call your trash company and say, "Hey, we got a lot of stuff right now. Can you just kind of come grab it as well?" I don't know. I don't think they charge extra. Like, I think you get a few of those. I don't know exactly how it works, but I think you get a few. I don't know if it's in writing, but I think you can do it a few times. Maybe it is in writing with my local trash company. So I'm curious, what's the deal with like the specifics of like, are they trying to charge you more for it or something? Because I totally understand that. Or did you just like do a bunch of stuff and then make like more trash than you had that you could get rid of that month? Like maybe you're just making a lot of trash by buying stuff and packaging and stuff like that. So yeah, and then I guess the second question about that is, I like the burning idea. To be honest, obviously you have to be careful. I personally wouldn't be the biggest fan of burning plastic just because it's really awful fumes, and even if you have a respirator and stuff, it's just kind of awful stuff. But definitely, paper products you can burn. I mean, I guess you can burn trash if it's legal to burn trash. So who am I to really say like what kind of trash you should burn? But yeah, I don't think that's an awful idea to burn the trash. Other question I had was, do you have like how much does your local dump charge a lot of money for that? If you have like a truck or an SUV, depending on whether or not your local waste site is greedy or they're chill, maybe it's 10 or 20 bucks, like if you put it all in your car, or maybe they try to charge you, 60 bucks. I don't know. But I guess if the workshop was really cold, most often, like, freezing or like really, really cold, or maybe below 50 all the time, or like something like that, I wouldn't like be as concerned about the long-term storage of trash. But depending on whether or not there's organic stuff, if it's completely all the trash is non-organic, then you don't really have to worry about it as much. But if there's any sort of organic in there, even sometimes just like, I don't know, a little bit of spilled Gatorade or something can do amazing things. But it's not, it's, I don't think getting rid of the trash is necessarily like the priority goal or anything. I just think that it potentially, since it is trash, could be just kind of like an easy thing to nip in the bud, and just like, even though it's annoying or it might be expensive or you might have to take a trip somewhere, or burn some stuff or sort some stuff, whatever it is, I think that would be like a good kind of way to get started. But so beyond that, you were talking about these projects you're working on, and man, I'm looking at a screenshot of the workshop and I'm just jealous of how much space you have. Like, you have a space just to be your workshop. My workshop is my living room right now. So the amount of things that, I would love to do in my workshop at any rate. So the point I'm trying to make about that is, I think the more you keep in mind, like, it's always, in my opinion, easier to motivate yourself to do something, especially long projects like cleaning up a workshop that has a lot of your belongings in it, to think of the positive side rather than the negative side. So thinking about like, oh, I can't wait to work on this project, or I've been wanting to work on this project for for this long, or it's gonna improve my life in this way, make me feel so much better, and I've wanted it for this, anyways. Rather than saying, rather than letting that kind of inner voice say like, oh, look at all this stuff and I don't know how I'm going to organize it, and oh my gosh, and I'm getting stressed out just looking at it, and I don't know, kind of like ruminating and going in circles. Because look, anyone faced with a project of organizing and kind of clearing out your workshop, it I would totally expect to be a little kind of nervous and anxious and worried, just like, oh, that's, goddamn, that's a lot of work. I'm not a lazy person, and imagining myself going through and kind of cleaning up and organizing it, I'm trying to think like, okay, what would be my plan of attack, right? So my personal plan of attack would be trash first, if not all of it, just like try to get a part of it. Just because it's easy momentum, it doesn't require like a lot of thought process. You have like certain options. You can take one of those options. If it's the burning it, full speed ahead on the burning. Or anyways. So trash. So the second thing I'm gonna say, I think, is a little walk. Like you need some walking around room. Sort of like, you're kind of looking in, and there's the opening. So I think if this is the so if this is the workshop, like this is your bench, this is the door, this is the garage door, that's the street. I think sort of like kind of like that. Let me get a highlighter and do this proper. We'll go blue for Prepper Bob. And I guess, of course, like you'll have a little, path to the door. But basically, I'll put the cap back on, keep my highlighter, my beautiful Flower 5 best highlighter ever, free from my university. So, I'll call this the workbench. So, workbench, make sure we have good light here. Lighting. So, workbench, side door, front door, or garage door, sorry. So, just clearing out, like, it doesn't even have to be, super wide, like a couple feet wide or something. Even if you're just, like, pushing stuff to the side, doesn't mean you have to organize it or sort it or anything. Just pile stuff, whatever you have to do to make this walkway, right? So, walkway like that, walkway like this, and that's going to give you access to everything, right? Because if you really don't want to touch stuff twice, I think to make a little bit of space to walk around, it's a lot easier to not have to like personally sort each individual item as you go, just so that you have room to kind of prioritize and move easier and such. So that's my number 2 personal plan of attack. Third plan of attack, storage, obviously. And I'm sure this has been on your mind too, but I'm just sharing, my point of view because I'm trying to help you out, PB. We're going to get this workshop, I think in a couple months, I think you're going to be looking good. And I'm excited. I'm super excited to see a video of you in your workshop working on shit. Because that's, your soul is crying out for that workshop, PB, okay? I don't know if you know this, but your heart, your essence is dying to be in there. And it's eating you up inside because you can't do the awesome stuff that looks like you have a lot of awesome stuff planned. So that's why we're going to help you out, PB, because you have to fulfill the desires of your heart to live a full life. All right? That's deep, I know, but you're going to have to trust me on that. So, storage. 2 basic options are, go to the store and buy a bunch of shelves that you assemble yourself, freestanding shelves. Not a bad option. Unfortunately, they are, $80, $90, $100 each. That can be a little bit expensive. But you could also make some storage, and it doesn't even have to necessarily, I don't know if you have earthquakes in your area, but it doesn't necessarily have to be secured to the floor immediately. If you are in earthquake country, screw it to the wall, no big deal. But if you aren't in earthquake country and you don't have kids that are going to be climbing on it or anything like that, just temporarily, you can make some, like I don't know, 4 by 2 foot shelves or something like that, or 3 by 2 foot shelves, 3 foot wide, 2 foot deep, give or take, and just kind of set them up, a little bit around the perimeter just to give you, because you just need more storage. Obviously, I'm sure you're working on the storage, but I think trying to sort a lot of stuff that you're going to keep and you need organized without somewhere to put it that makes sense, you're just going to be like moving it over and over again. So rather than sorting stuff into 10 different piles and then moving 10 different piles, over, just if you can get at least like 3 or 4 or 5 or at least a couple kind of shelving units set up, it'll give you just like a really easy way to say like, okay, this is all my stuff for project A, or this is all my, Christmas stuff, or this is some of my power tools, or this is some summer stuff, whatever. I'm sure you'll find plenty of ways to sort it, but that's my number 3 thing, is some storage. 4, I would say it's kind of like getting into the organizing and sorting of stuff. So I think the easiest way, at least in my own personal opinion, to go about that is get the obvious stuff, like get as much of the obvious stuff out of the way, and then kind of work on the stuff that you're kind of like, I don't know, I've had this stuff for a while, I don't really use it. The stuff that I call kind of like sentimental stuff, you're not using it every day, not stuff that you might need, that's like seasonal or, something like that, but things like a yearbook or photos or I don't know, matches from different restaurants or something like that, right? So that sort of stuff you can kind of leave way till later, because it's hard to make decisions on stuff that has meaning to you, in different ways. So, going back to the sorting thing, you have your projects. Obviously, you want to keep all your projects together. So that's kind of like what I was talking about with the shelves. You can have your project A shelf, project B shelf, project C shelf, and on and on. And you might just find that just being able to like look at the shelving unit and see all the project together kind of helps you like mentally like make progress in the project. Because even things like, let's say you only had one project in your workshop, but it was in 4 different locations. Every time you wanted to work on your project, you have to go around to 4 different spots just to like see what's going on. So by kind of organizing projects by shelves, for example, you can just enjoy working on your projects more, because you spend more time working on your projects and less time looking for like that one component that you bought that was expensive that you can't find and you don't want to buy another one and it was special order. You're going to have a situation like that that's going to drive you crazy. I'm sure, anyone would, when you have like multiple projects going on at the same time. Next item on the list, I would say the high utility stuff. Things like, garden tools or power tools, like fans, coolers, things like that, or, plastic tote storage things or whatnot. Bicycles, I don't know, sporting equipment. Things that get used around the house, like cooking equipment, like say you have a turkey fryer out in the garage because you fry turkeys, it's not like you want to get rid of that because you might want to fry a turkey next Thanksgiving. So high utility stuff, followed by, kind of low utility stuff, which is, low utility stuff, in my opinion, is like the biggest pain in the ass to sort, because it has utility, but it hasn't given you utility recently. Like, for example, I think I got rid of a Cat 5, a coax cable, TV coax cable. And yeah, I could use the coax cable to plug in some internet, but I got a replacement from the cable company for free. So I had a coax cable that I wasn't using. Now, granted, if I had bought a TV, if I was going to use a tuner, which I wouldn't, like if I bought cable or DirecTV or something like that and had a tuner, I could connect the tuner to my TV with coax. But since I'm probably just going to use a smart TV and or my laptop to power the TV, probably mostly just the smart TV feature like Netflix or maybe a DVD player or something, that's going to be HDMI. So point is, I have this cable that is perfectly good cable that I'm not really using, but maybe I'll use it someday when I move or when I buy a TV or when I get cable when I don't really want cable. So like things like that really annoy the crap out of me because sometimes you get rid of something and you like I don't know, a month later you need it and you're like, damn it, I knew I was going to need that at some point. But to be honest, most of the time, those things that you're keeping for that time that you think you're going to need them, like that time doesn't come around, unfortunately, even though you want it to, and even though there's like no reason that it can't. It's just kind of the nature of the beast. People get busy and we have, this is like a first world problem, like having more things to solve problems and having problems that we need to be solved, kind of. So after the low utility stuff, I call the kind of the ultimate category, like I was talking about, the sentimental stuff. And I don't, it's not, they're not my belongings. So it's really not my place to say, you should keep this, or if you haven't looked in this box for 5 years, then that box is meaningless to you, because maybe that box has a bunch of photos of your family when you were younger, and if you throw them away, you're not going to have them unless you get them all scanned or something. So I'm not going to put like specific, judgment on a certain type of category of item, but I think once you get past your projects, past the high utility stuff, past the low utility stuff, and past things that have some sort of sentimental meaning to you, things that kind of fall between, don't fall into those four categories, those are sort of the things that you can kind of think about, like if it's worth storing it to you. And it might be worth storing it to you, depending on depending on so many things. And of course, the more you've used it in the past, the more you paid for it, the more useful it is, the less likely you are to want to just get rid of it or donate it, because it has utility that could be gained, by you or your family or your friends or someone. So that's when you sort of have to step back and say, like, if, just to kind of get into numbers, like let's say you were going to do 2,000 things in a year. Let's say 1,000. Let's say you're going to do 1,000 little mini projects in a year, right? That's kind of a lot, but let's just say, for example, 1,000 mini projects. Maybe 100 to a weekend. That's better. Let's say 100 projects a year. If you have enough stuff to do 300 mini projects a year, then every year there's going to be 200 mini projects that you never really get to. Not because there's anything wrong with you, it's just you had a certain amount of time and energy to put into X, but you had X plus Y amount of stuff that you could do. And a lot of times that opportunity to do something like, if you want to go camping, you have to have a bunch of camping equipment. If you want to go ride bikes, you have to have a bunch of bike equipment. If you want to do woodworking, you have to have a bunch of tools for that. So, but if you sort of imagine, if you had like camping and hunting and woodworking and archery and needlecraft and sewing and boating and skiing and snowboarding and rollerblading and ice hockey, like if I add up 200 of those things and then I put 200 of those things in a garage, organized or otherwise, you're just not going to get to all of it. It's just physically impossible. So that's the kind of thing you have to keep like way in the back of your mind, that when you're looking at this stuff like, oh, I could use that, I could do something with that. This is part of this thing that I was going to do, and this other project I was going to build this. You can't always get to all of it. you know, unfortunately. You might be able to in time, and then that becomes the question, like, how long have I wanted to do this? And I sort of look at that like how passionate you are about something, you know, like if you haven't touched it in like 5 or 10 years or 2 or 3 years, chances are you might not be as passionate about it as you thought you were. Like maybe you wanted to be passionate about it. Like people in California want to be passionate about surfing. Like I want to be more passionate about surfing. Okay, great example. I'm not at the ocean every single day that I could be. Why? Well, I'm not a surfer, I guess. It's unfortunate. It pains me to say it, but I'm not a surfer. I could be if I wanted to, but I'm not. So I guess you kind of like are, you aren't. I am a motorcycle rider, even though I don't have one, which is kind of a shame, but we're getting off topic though. So the point in, let's do a quick time check, 25 minutes. Okay, so overall, my personal plan of attack for your workshop. First, before doing any physical work, meditate and think about how amazing it's going to be to have it all dialed in. Just every day, I want you to spend some time and close your eyes and think about working in your workshop and breathe and just feel how good it is to work in your workshop. Just imagine yourself working in your workshop. That's step number 1. That's step number 0, right? And step number 1, tack that damn trash. Because, you know it pains you. You walk in, you see the trash, you're just like, goddamn trash. Arrgh. So you get rid of the trash, you're going to feel better already. It's going to give you a little bit of that positive momentum. Then, little walking area, just a little push, kick some stuff out of the way, give you access and will set you up for logistics. 3, try to get a little bit of storage in. Now, I understand that you do kind of have to move stuff out of the way to put the shelves in, but you know, it partly just can't be helped. I mean, the best thing to do would be to try to find an area with a bunch of stuff that's similar and then put shelves there, and then you don't really have to sort it as much because it's kind of already going in the same place. But at any rate, some kind of storage. You could honestly start, like as I'm looking at you could start with some wall storage, just some wall shelves. A lot cheaper to make. And, you know, some really simple brackets that you can make or buy, and some 1x12 by, you know, I don't know, 10 foot, 5 foot, whatever, depending on how many shelves you want to have. In a matter of, you know, in a matter of an afternoon, basically like a Saturday or a Sunday, you could have like some shelves up here, and then in a weekend, you could kind of get like some shelves here, some shelves there, maybe some shelves there. And that would at least give you potentially some breathing room to kind of get a little bit started. And once you can kind of get a little bit, you know, because your shelves are going to kind of go something like this, give or take, right? You know, you're going to leave maybe all the way down the garage. I don't know if you're trying to put a couple cars in there ever, but just kind of little by little bit of shelves or standing shelves or something like that. If, you know, some of the stuff could be stored outside in a shed, wouldn't be a terrible idea to get like a little 4x6 shed, just so you can kind of give yourself some space in your workshop for stuff that, you know, you want to hang around, you want to hang on to, but it's not getting used regularly. Because all this stuff, you know, isn't on the workshop, isn't, like I said, isn't necessarily going to be like used day to day or all the time. Even the stuff that, you know, is related to things that you need or, you know, want. So it doesn't all have to stay in the workshop, is what I'm trying to say. You know, during this whole process, I don't think the goal is necessarily put everything that's in the workshop somehow. You certainly could, not a big deal with shelving and stuff, but I'm just saying, like, kind of keep an open mind, you know. So after the storage, you kind of go into the sorting, and the storage and the sorting kind of go hand in hand. You know, sort a little bit, get a little bit more storage, sort a little bit more vertical storage. That's going to help you out a lot. You know, trying to build all your storage and shelving and stuff and bookcases or whatever, and or trying to sort everything all at once, it's way too much. There's no reason to try to do all of it at once. You're going to stress yourself out. I would stress myself out. Anyone would stress themselves out because it's you have to break it up into small chunks. If you don't break it up into small chunks, it's too hard to handle. So there you have it, PB. I I have some experience. You know, I've kind of worked with and been around, kind of accidentally, I suppose, a couple of environments with sort of similar similar amounts of density, where storage and organization is kind of a challenge, and just takes just a little bit of work, like, you know, a few hours every week, 4 to 8 hours a week, like give or take a day, like some part of a day. And even if it's just like an hour a day or like 30 minutes a day, the goal isn't to get it all done tomorrow. The goal is just to like make progress on it. And the longer it goes that you don't make progress, the more you're going to beat yourself up. Like, why can't I start this? What's wrong with me? It should be easy to just fix this. And it's not easy. It's a lot of work. Trust me, I understand. I can completely understand, you know, how you're feeling and how it sounds like it's stressing you out a little bit. So I hope this video gave you a little bit of insight into kind of what my thoughts are on how you can kind of, you know, reclaim your workshop, because like I said, I want you to be in there working on projects. You know, you, like you're talking about when your videos, preppers are creative, and I can tell looking at this space that this is the result of you like wanting to do too much almost, you know, like, I want to do this and I want to do this and I want to do this, and then at some point you just kind of like, oh, I have like so much stuff to do, you know. So I think once you get your workshop dialed in, it's going to help you start making progress on your projects. And once you start making progress on your projects, life's going to be even better than it is, PB. All right. So, so let me know what you think. I have a lot of faith in you, PB. And I'm really looking forward to seeing the progress. I really am. I'm looking forward to see how you use the space, how you use the shelves, how you organize stuff. Because I've like seen your food pantry. Like I know, you know, I know in your heart of hearts, like that's how you want things to be. It's very orderly and organized. And I know because you want stuff to be organized, to have stuff that's not organized causes you grief, causes lots of people grief to have stuff kind of in disarray. Completely natural. So I hope this helps, PB. Looking forward to it. And let me know what you think. Like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you later.